Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and if you guys remember what, if you guys recall, or if you've even seen the video, my last upload, which yes was very long, towards the end of the video, it started to fall into a depressive state that, if I'm being real honest, I don't really know where it came from. But I do know why it happened. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to hopefully enjoy ourselves a nice random run here. And we're going to talk about maybe some things I wanted to do in the near future. So I don't say this often, but hey, if you could like, subscribe, do all the things that help a channel grow, I would really appreciate it. It lets me know that you guys are enjoying my content, even if I'm not out there advertising it constantly. I'm not, trying to push people into, subscribing or becoming Patreon members or anything. That's not why I do this. I do this because I enjoy it. But if I could turn something that I enjoy into something more, that would be amazing. But that's not for me to decide, that is for you to decide. So, just real quick, I do want to again, and from the bottom of my heart, say thank you guys for continuing to follow my work, for spending your free time here with me today. I say it at the end of every video, but I want you to understand I do mean it. So, let's see what today's build looks like. Alright, we got swords, we got hammer, we got shock nova, and we got that piece of crap. And we're working with tempo, so cooldown reduction and movement. Alright. Actually, I kinda like this start. Alright, so we've got ourselves a certified melee build, which means time to try to not suck. That also means that a lot of time is going to be spent on this run just dodging and waiting for opportunities. And trying to replace this dash, because this dash sucks major balls. And I think that really boils down to, more than anything else, how lackluster poison is in this game, at least when you're the one inflicting it. So, what exactly happened? Why did I start to have a breakdown in the middle of a Balatro video? Well, it boils down to, and I think I had started to describe it at the end of that video and then just kind of lost it, but yeah, that was a bad idea. It boils down to, I was kind of feeling what I could best describe as imposter syndrome. Like, I had lost a few runs in a row trying to clear Black Stake, and my brain and its infinite wisdom started to go, this is a personal problem with you, not just I'm having bad luck or things weren't lining up or anything like that. No, my brain just immediately said, this is you. You're the one that has the problem here. So I don't know how many of you suffer from things like that. I've had this problem going on for a while now, and I'm not just talking about depression in general. I'm talking about this fixation on everything being perfect, which is why I have a hard time starting new projects, because of that. Because when things go wrong, I take it very personally. Well, that was embarrassing. Alright, we'll try again. Oh, once again, I'm starting to feel that creeping sensation of imposter syndrome, of that you're no good, you're just a joke, why do you do this? You know, that. But the failure there is actually kind of a good thing because it illustrates my point perfectly. And that point being that just because things are difficult doesn't mean that you should give up. And that's what my brain is convincing me that I should do, is that wasn't just like things going wrong or just being out of practice. It was, I am fundamentally a failure and I should just give up. Alright, what am I starting with? So I don't know if any of you feel that same issue or pressure. It is definitely something that I feel. Why? I don't know. Just I really feel as though if I'm not at my absolute best and performing at peak at all times, then I have fundamentally failed, is what my brain keeps telling me. And it sometimes takes me a little bit to remember remember some of the things that I've been learning, you know, in trying to handle this issue with myself, which is that we all make mistakes. It's perfectly natural. It's perfectly normal. Like, even if I view it as I've fundamentally failed every time I make a mistake, that's not really the case, and I hope that you all don't put up with that same feeling of, if I'm not perfect, I've failed. That is very much at its core an issue with my mental health. I'm aware of that, don't know how to fix it. I've been going to therapy, I'm on medication, and I've told all of you this many times in the past. None of this is probably anything new to those of you who have been around my channel for a while. Though I do not expect everyone here to have heard it multiple times. Some of you might be very new to my work and aren't sure what the hell I'm talking about. You're just going, Dark Sage, what does this have to do with Wizard of Legend? To which I say, I understand why you're saying that, but hear me out. Gaming, Wizard of Legend, all of that. Not everything necessarily follows the same pattern for me. I think a little bit of ranged control is what we need right now. I'm just gonna say no. I don't have enough to make that pop, so we're just gonna leave it be. What we are going to need, however, is something to is something to boost my critical hit rate. Okay, I should have used the Frost Scimitar there, I don't know why I didn't. I know I've said this about explosive charge before, but I love being able to attack and reposition at the same time. It makes me feel powerful, even if it's not always the right decision. So I hope you all understand that, what you witnessed from me in my last Balatro video. That's the reason why I didn't edit that out or just decide to stop the recording, is because I kind of want people to understand just, sometimes what a mental health downturn looks like is something really innocuous. And sometimes it doesn't make sense, because up until then, I was having a great time. Especially with that Mega Lopunny part. I really find myself liking Mega Lopunny. But when things start to happen or when your brain chemicals start to churn differently, it becomes difficult to keep things in perspective, and that's what I experienced, is a difficulty keeping things in perspective. So hopefully everyone understands where I'm coming from on that. If you do understand, then hopefully that gives you some perspective, and hey, maybe it even helps you recognize it in your loved ones. If you don't understand, then hopefully this is a path to learning, and we can all learn from each other about the perils of mental health struggles. What do you do? Also increases water damage. That's weird. But okay, we have that. Am I going to keep it? Probably not. we'll hang on to it for now. Now, as far as future plans are concerned, I have been looking. I of course keep looking for new games to make a first impressions on. I actually just recently did one on a game called Million Depth that, you know, there were issues with it, make no mistake, but I kept playing it for about an hour and a half, just partially because I was intrigued, and partially because I didn't know if I could quit out partway through and it saved my progress. Follow-up to that, yes, you can do that. So, you know, there's good news there. So, not 100% sure what to make of the game, as it does seem a little... like, I like the amount of player choice that it gives you. I'm just not 100% sure how I feel about the game in general, so... Alright, let me grab this. This is going to give me a nice little buffer zone here, just in case something happens like what happened in the last run. There we go. That's something I actually like a lot better. Though it's not great against Freya. So do I take it anyway? That's the question of the hour. Probably not. Oh, what am I doing? Alright, let's quick double check over here. What are you? Nah. Okay, that was just everything that could go wrong did go wrong there, and my brain did not recognize what was going on. So, you know, maybe I am just a giant idiot. Don't recognizing problems before they become problems. Anything good here? Maybe the Phoenix Talon, but I already have plenty of chances to burn foes, so it's not really that helpful. I don't know, maybe I'll take the raffle ticket? Maybe it'll actually do something? Also, I just realized that the ward doesn't create hit stun. So, yeah. That's just awesome. Nice. Not thrilling, but nice. Take it, though. Oh, so other things that I was thinking about for the future. Outside of just first impressions, Elden Ring Night Rain has some new DLC coming out very soon, and I'm curious as to whether or not you guys would like me to start doing Night Rain runs again. I don't know how people feel about the game. I still love it, but I got really sidetracked playing Silk Song. Like, between Silk Song and Hades 2, I just kind of momentarily stopped playing it, but I'm gonna pick it up again because I do very much like the game. I'm a huge Elden Ring fan and would love to pick the game back up, but should I pick it up in my own time, or would you guys be interested in seeing the game some more? I'm dumb. The other thing I was thinking about doing is I have started another playthrough of Hollow Knight Silk Song, and have been really just plowing through the game. That makes me think, hey, why don't I do a third playthrough, and then just do a long play of it, discuss my feelings on the game, and, you know, whatever else comes to mind as per my usual status quo, and then maybe use that footage to make more material based on the game. You know, talk about the things that bother me about the game, talk about the things that... because there are certain things about the Hollow Knight Silk Song community that have been bothering me that I would also like to talk about. One of them being touching on something very specific that's less about the game and more so about the state of education. So, you know, that could be fun. But in the long run, I want to hear from you guys about this. So I want you to let me know what you think. I may even start that sooner than I thought I would, just because I am coming close to finishing my latest playthrough. And yeah, if I've got the opportunity, I would love to play some more. And when I say that, I specifically mean on camera, because I did a first impressions look on it, but then haven't really done anything with it past that, so, you know, getting back to it, I think would be fun and enjoyable. There we go. Considering the setup that I have, really hard to say no to that, so I won't. Alright, well this suddenly became a Storm Entourage build. We've got Dust Devils, we've got Jumpin', we've got Explosive Charges. Everyone look the fuck out. Okay, kinda need the mittens to deal with these fuckers. Why is it always knights? Oh, because they have defensive techniques that can really strain your build. Who's asking you, you word genius? Ooh, tummy. Okay, well, clearly I'm a little out of practice, or just expecting this build to carry itself. Oh my god, the raffle ticket did something. I'm amazed. No. I'm good. I suppose this is also the time in which I would say, hey, if there's any games I've played recently that you guys would like me to do more coverage of, this would also be a good thing to let me know, because, hey, I don't always have an inside track into everyone's minds, so, hey, if you guys have a game that you've been excited to see me get back to, like, maybe more of you liked Vellum than I thought did, because, you know, I would love to play that game some more, too. Maybe some of you really liked Gatekeeper. Maybe some of you would like me to try to master Wizard of Legend 2, finally. And yes, that should be a little hint as to what's going on there. I have not been playing it. Something about how it feels in comparison to the first game is just off. And I say this as someone who does not dislike the game, it just doesn't feel right. But it might also be that I feel that the difficulty balance is off. Like, it feels like the enemies on the last floor are so tanky that there's just nothing you can do against them without, you know, it's not enough to have a good build, you have to have a broken build. And that's kind of what I was feeling with Magicraft as well, as much as I like that game. And maybe in both cases, the problem is that I'm not understanding how the systems work. Or maybe I just need to get better at dodging enemy attacks. You know, get good, loser. You did that for Hollow Knight, you can't do that for this game. Oh boy, now I got started thinking about Vellum again. Like, what was it about that game that I really liked? It's like, it was like Risk of Rain, except for more magical and roguelike. It's not even a fucking word. Like, Risk of Rain in and of itself is a roguelike, so what the hell am I talking about? I don't know, something about Risk of Rain never really spoke to me. Like, people praise the shit out of both Risk of Rain games, the first one and the second one, but for some reason I just can't get into them. It's one of those things where it's like, what's a game that everyone loves but you hate? And that's the thing, I don't hate Risk of Rain, I just can't get into it. And yes, part of that might be I prefer fantasy over sci-fi. That might just be it. That might just be the whole crux of the case there is, yeah, but I like magic, not necessarily guns. But there are plenty of games out there with that involve gunplay that I do like RoboQuest, like, you know, Neon Abyss, like Enter the Gungeon, even though I'm terrible at that game. So what is it about Risk of Rain that I'm not getting? Because even if I look at this whole thing of, yeah, the game gets harder as you spend longer in it, and the whole idea is to like complete an objective to get the boss to show up. You kill the boss, you move on. Yeah, I get that. What's so hard about it? I wish I knew. Maybe what it boils down to... There we go. Like, and before I go on, there's another game that I played recently that's like that. I believe I just mentioned it, Gatekeeper. That's very much a Risk of Rain style game, and I like that. So it just leaves me scratching my head going, what the hell? Why do I have such a hard time getting into these games that everyone else loves, and I just look at it and go, it's alright. Like, is it one of those things where it's like a personal problem? Do I just not have the mentality to understand these games, or do you think it's really just a matter of preferences? That's another thing I'd like you guys to tell me. I hope I'm not hitting you guys with too many things that you feel forced to respond to. Like, if you just want me to be like, hey, shut up, funny man, just make fart noises again. Like, I can do that, but I'm also trying to steer away from too many fart jokes. There we go. So if you're looking at my gameplay now and going, so how did you get creamed in the last run? Love to be able to tell you that. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Maybe because inherently I'm not that great with melee builds. Or maybe I was just out of practice. I mean, how long has it been since I've done a Wizard of Legend video? My tummy is upset with me. Keep the Napoleon hat or put on the tiara? I think we keep the Napoleon hat. But why keep the Napoleon hat? And admittedly, part of that is a recent bias after listening to the new Sabaton album and realizing that there is a Napoleon Bonaparte song on there. It speaks to me. Bleh. Actually, the spice rack is probably what we want. But what would I drop to pick it up? No, screw it. We're just going to go in as we are. I don't think so. Owie. Oh, lame. Perfect. Alright, that was a much better run. I also want this to serve as a reminder that I'm not against showcasing my failures. So long as we all understand that, failures are meant to be learned from and not necessarily meant to make us feel bad or to put anyone down. Mistakes happen, things go wrong, it happens all the time, and this is also something I need to learn from for myself, harkening back to what I was saying earlier in the video. There is nothing wrong with failing. Some people would say that failure is our best teacher. I just wish that some of us would learn from that, myself included. But anyway, that is that. So let me guys know what you think about some of the questions that I posed. Maybe you have something else to say. By all means, shoot me a comment, let me know. Hit up my social media. I'm pretty active on my Discord, so link to that is also in the description. So if you want to join and say a few words, by all means, do so. I'm happy to have a discussion. Again, so long as we're not going to talk about just me continuing to make fart jokes. I want to again thank you for coming and spending your free time with me today. I say it at the end of every video, and I've said this once already, but I do appreciate you guys coming and checking out my work. It really does mean a lot to me. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and you take care.